Talk to Fluency from beginner to fluent.
Take your English skills to the next level.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you've been, grinding away at your IELTS speaking prep, but feel like the internet is just drowning you in conflicting advice, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're embarking on what we're calling the ultimate deep dive, not just into what gets you a good score, but really how to aim for that coveted band 9.
That's right. And it's a real problem, isn't it? The online world is just saturated with IELTS tips and tricks.
Totally.
You find these videos, millions of views sometimes, blog posts promising instant breakthroughs, but honestly, a huge amount of that information is, misleading or sometimes even actually harmful to your score.
Well, yeah. So our mission today is basically to cut through all that noise.
Exact.
Give you some clarity on what truly matters for IELTS speaking.
Yeah, bring it back to basics almost. What actually works.
Precisely. And for this deep dive, we've meticulously analyzed some really top-tier sources. We've actually dissected a real Band 9 performance video.
Oh, interesting. From where?
From IELTS Advantage on YouTube. We really pulled apart the precise elements that, make the difference there.
Okay.
And we've also pulled insights from their Ultimate Guide 2025, which is great because it systematically debunks popular myths.
The myths. There are so many.
Tell me about it. And they use official statements, like directly from IDP and the British Council to do it.
Good. So it's grounded in what the test creators actually say.
Exactly. And then to give you a really practical tool for thinking on your feet, we've integrated Vin Gang's brilliant 3-2-1 speaking trick.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's a neat framework.
It really is. So our goal for you, the listener, is to distill the most important kind of nuggets of knowledge.
Right.
Arm you with actionable strategies and hopefully instill some genuine confidence for test day.
Yeah, confidence is key. This deep dive is really for anyone who wants to quickly get a thorough understanding of what leads to a top IELTS speaking score.
Find those aha moments, maybe.
Exactly. Those aha moments and feel completely in control without being just overwhelmed by all the information out there.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. We've all seen those common pieces of advice floating around. What do you think is like the number one piece of advice you hear about IELTS speaking that just turns out to be completely off the mark?
Oh, wow. Number one, it probably has to be the idea that you need to be super friendly, smile constantly, use big hand gestures, maintain constant eye contact.
Right, the whole performance aspect.
Exactly. That you need to do all this to impress the examiner. You see countless videos promoting this stuff.
I've definitely seen those. And you wonder why it's so widespread, right? Even some teachers seem to push it.
It is fascinating, isn't it? But it highlights a huge misunderstanding. IDP and the British Council, they are incredibly clear on this.
Okay, what do they say?
Examiners are trained solely to assess your speaking ability, your English.
Just the language.
Just the language, the official marking criteria. They don't mention politeness, they don't mention body language or eye contact, not at all.
So like being polite is good manners, obviously.
Of course. It helps the interaction feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's explicitly not part of the evaluation. It's all about your English language skills, fluency, vocab, grammar, pronunciation, not your acting skills.
So if you're getting feedback, say from a teacher, on whether you smiled enough, that advice might actually be diverting your focus from what actually matters for the score.
Precisely. You could be wasting precious mental energy on things that literally don't contribute a single point to your score. You should be focusing on, fluency, coherence, vocab.
The core stuff.
The core stuff, exactly. And building on that, another massive myth is the belief that the IELTS speaking test is this strictly academic assessment, that it demands really formal language and you should avoid any slang or informal bits.
Yeah. The sound like a professor approach.
Right. Students try to sound like they're giving a university lecture, picking every word so carefully.
Why is that flawed, though? Especially considering some people take academic IELTS.
Well, this raises a really important point. Is it truly an academic test? The speaking part. IDP clearly states the test content is identical for both academic and general training.
Oh, okay. Identical.
Identical. And it assesses both formal and informal English. The test's main goal is to see how well you speak normally in everyday situations.
Everyday situations.
Yeah, think about it. In most daily chats, how often do you use super formal academic language? Pretty rarely, right?
Almost never, unless I'm actually giving a lecture.
Exactly. So here's where it gets really interesting. The advice we found, the good advice, suggests you should actually relax. Speak to the examiner like they're just another person, maybe like a friendly acquaintance,
Like a human being.
Like a human being. Fancy that. This helps you use natural, everyday English. And here's the paradox.
Okay.
It actually improves your grammar, your vocabulary, your fluency, because your brain isn't overthinking, stressing about sounding overly formal.
Huh. So just speaking naturally is actually better for the score.
Pretty much. That mental shift alone could probably cut down test anxiety for a lot of people.
That makes a lot of sense. Less pressure.
Absolutely. Which is kind of related to myth number 3.
Go on.
The idea that using loads of uncommon big fancy words or like memorizing lists of impressive vocabulary will magically boost your score to band 7 or higher.
Yes. The dreaded 8 words to score 7+ videos. They're everywhere.
They really are. Seems like such an easy shortcut, right?
Yeah, what's the problem with that? Why doesn't it work?
Well, if we connect this back to the official sources, the British Council specifically warns about this. They say candidates often memorize words but then use them incorrectly.
Because they don't really know them.
Exactly. They don't truly understand the nuance or the right context, and this leads to mistakes, obvious mistakes, which actually lowers your score.
Ouch. Okay.
And IDP's advice, it's very specific. Avoid using words you are not familiar with. Simple as that, to prevent mispronunciation or just using them awkwardly.
So forcing it backfires.
Big time. The truth is, many students, probably most listeners aiming high, already have a pretty good vocabulary level.
Right.
By forcing in unfamiliar words, your brain isn't free to focus on actually communicating smoothly, phrasing things naturally, connecting ideas. You end up tripping over your own vocabulary.
So, okay, what does this mean for someone really aiming high, like band 9? What's the alternative?
Instead of forcing those big words, adopt what we started calling the 100% rule.
The 100% rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only use words you understand 100%, the meaning, the context, how to pronounce it properly.
Trust your existing vocabulary more.
Trust your existing vocabulary. It's probably stronger than you think.
Yeah.
Overthinking to find some fancy word actually hurts your fluency, your pronunciation, even your grammar, because your brain is just struggling.
We saw this in that band 9 analysis video we mentioned.
Oh, yeah. How so?
The speaker had genuinely amazing vocabulary. She used phrases like draining a social battery.
Well, that's good. Very natural, economical.
Exactly. Elegant. But even she was advised at times to maybe simplify her ideas slightly just to improve her fluency.
Interesting. Even at band 9 level.
Yeah. It shows that natural, precise vocabulary is the key, not just stuffing in big words for the sake of it.
That makes perfect sense. And it leads us straight into myths 4 and 5, which are closely related.
Okay, what are those?
It's the common practice of trying to learn specific topics or questions you think might come up.
Yeah, predicting the question.
Yeah, and then memorizing phrases or even entire answers for them. Students spend so much time on this, preparing for supposedly common questions.
Well, I can see why. From a student's perspective, it feels like a smart way to prepare for the unexpected, right? Like a shortcut.
It feels like it, but it's a huge trap. What's the danger from the examiner's side?
Okay.
Examiners are specifically trained to identify memorized responses. The British Council says it's extremely easy to spot.
Really? That easy?
Apparently so, and they will mark you down if they suspect it. And what's more, if you give a clearly memorized answer, the examiner is likely to then ask you a completely different, unexpected question, something totally off script.
To see how you really speak.
Exactly, to gauge your real speaking level when you can't rely on a script. They want to see authentic communication, not a recitation.
So let's say you memorize this brilliant answer about your hometown. They might then just pivot and ask you about something totally random, like, for more expert guidance and to continue your journey, be sure to check out the Talk to Fluency YouTube channel. See you later in Talk to Fluency YouTube channel.
Talk to Fluency from beginner to fluent.
Take your English skills to the next level.